12 วันแล้วนะคะสำหรับการสู้รบการทำสงครามระหว่างอิสราเอลและฮามาสซึ่งเริ่มขึ้นจากการโจมตีของฮามาสเมื่อวันที่ 7 ตุลาคมแต่ความขัดแย้งระหว่างอิสราเอลปาเลสไตน์และกลุ่มติดอาวุธฮามาสเกิดขึ้นมาอย่างต่อเนื่องเป็นความขัดแย้งที่มีขึ้นไม่ต่ำกว่า 73 ปีเต็มไปด้วยมิติทางประวัติศาสตร์และการเมืองที่ซับซ้อนอย่างมากแต่ในสถานการณ์ที่เป็นวิกฤตในปัจจุบันดิฉันได้สอบถามมุมมองจากนักข่าวของทั้งอิสราเอลและปาเลสไตน์ขอให้สะท้อนสถานการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นรวมถึงมุมมองที่อาจจะพอเป็นทางออกได้ค่ะดิฉันเริ่มจากนักข่าวปาเลสไตน์ก่อนค่ะ
Should make the battle with the fighters, not with the civilians. So when an Israeli army appeared on CNN and the anchor asked him, why you are doing this war, is it against Hamas? He said, no, this war is not only against Hamas, it's against the civilian population. So Israel is killing civilians intentionally in order to mount a pressure on the resistance, mainly Hamas, to return the hostages. So Palestinian civilians are paying a heavy price. It's not acceptable.
What's the difference between Hamas and Palestinian people, and who should represent the fight for Palestinians?
Hamas is part of the Palestinian people. They are a resistance group. Hamas wouldn't have existed if Israel doesn't occupy Palestinian land. Hamas is a reaction to 75 years of aggression, bombardment, besiegement, arresting over 5,000 Palestinian political prisoners, ethnically cleansing Palestinian villages in 1948, making the vast majority of Palestinian indigenous refugees. So when Hamas was democratically elected, the whole world boycotted Hamas, including the secular Fatah party.
In your opinion, what's the workable solution between Israel and Palestine? Is two-state solution workable?
I don't think so, because Israel killed the two-state solution anyway. Israel is making it very difficult for the Palestinians to establish their country in lands occupied in 1967 because it grabbed more land, it annexed more land. It is making Palestinian lives miserable. Some Palestinians were forced to flee. Israel is controlling the resources of Palestinians. And because of the inaction of the international community, this option is not viable. Israel refuses one-state solution, two-state solution. It refuses any solution. It just wants the Palestinians to evacuate and leave and flee.
How do you see the vulnerable situation of the borders between Israel and Lebanon, Israel and Syria? Do you see the situation will escalate into wider conflicts for the whole region?
Well, the Lebanese authorities or the Lebanese resistance, they say that we are not willing to stay idle and see Palestinians slaughtered day and night. Israel accuses Iran of being involved in what's going on by supporting the resistance groups in Gaza. And we know Hezbollah is a proxy arm to Iran. You have the Syrian regime also is being supported by the Iranian regime. So it's hard to tell if it's going to be a regional conflict. But the US administration has sent warning messages to leaders or countries in the region that do not intervene. Otherwise, we will attack you. So I don't think it's going to include other countries, but this depends on the developments inside Gaza. What's important now is that Israel must stop its killing and targeting of civilians. More people are being killed hour after hour. Hospitals cannot cope with the big number of casualties. And to attack civilians and justify that, it just outrages.
ขณะที่นักข่าวอิสราเอลมองว่าการต่อสู้ที่เกิดขึ้นเป็นผลจากการต่อสู้ของกลุ่มฮามาสซึ่งเกี่ยวข้องกับกระบวนการยิฮาดที่มีแนวโน้มว่าน่าจะขยายตัวไปในระดับโลกและก็ย้ำว่าฮามาสเป็นคนละเรื่องกับคนปาเลสไตน์นะคะและนักข่าวชาวอิสราเอลนี่ก็ระบุว่าขณะนี้สถานการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นถือว่าเป็นสงครามระหว่างโลกเสรีกับขบวนการยิฮาดค่ะ
They are not fighting for the Palestinian cause. They are just as an Arab writer published an article 3 days ago in France, I think it was in the Libération, a very important newspaper, and he wrote, you, the Hamas, are the enemy of the Palestinians because you are not fighting for the Palestinian cause, you are fighting for something else, which is of the global jihad, to conquer the world. Nothing to do with Palestinian demand for self-determination, which is, by the way, legitimate. And at least half of the Israelis support this kind of two states for two peoples. Unfortunately, even though, if we speak about it, all the offers that were on the table in the last 2 decades were rejected by the Palestinian leadership, unfortunately. But speaking about the Hamas, it's something else.
How do you see the situation in Gaza? Will it expand to other parts of the world and has become escalated?
Okay, if we zoom out, we do understand that actually it's not even the Hamas. Yes, Hamas is part of the global jihad, but the Hamas actually the strings are pulled from Tehran. I mean, they give the orders. And why? What happened actually? Why in this timing they began with this kind of attack? Because they are afraid from the peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Because in the last 3-4 months, there are negotiations between Israel, the United States, and Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is going to be part of the Abraham Accords, which means that right now we don't pay attention to the fact that Israel actually is making peace with most of the Arab countries. We do not live 20 years ago. We live now. And now we have more and more countries that we have good relationship, normalization, trade, and whatever.
Witnessing the violence which is happening, people must be wondering whether coexistence between Israel and Palestine are still viable solution in the near future, especially on two-state solution. What's your take on this?
I do hope, for many years, and even now, I have, for myself, and I'm not the only one, we have a lot of Palestinian friends. We have, and even many officials are, we disagree about a lot of things, but we speak. Most of them are human beings. I don't want them to suffer. I just want them to accept the solution that was offered again and again by the international community, by Bill Clinton, by George Bush, by Barack Obama, by even Donald Trump. Again and again, the leadership, the moderate leadership said no. They rejected all the peace offer. So, but it doesn't mean that I am not criticizing my own government. I do have. Just in one word, I don't like the settlements, and not only me, many Israelis do not like it, but we distinguish between the criticism against the government, because Israel is a democracy, and yes, we can criticize the government, and the battle against the global jihad, where we are all totally united. And we should be united, not us only. I do hope that the majority in the free world will be united with us Israelis against this darkness, against this axis of evil.
เป็นเสียงสะท้อนทั้งจากนักข่าวปาเลสไตน์และนักข่าวชาวอิสราเอลนะคะก็คงจะเป็นคำถามว่าสงครามที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นนี้จะมีทางออกอย่างไรท่ามกลางความพยายามที่เราได้เห็นก็คือประธานาธิบดีสหรัฐก็เดินทางไปที่อิสราเอลแต่ก็ยังไม่ได้พบกับผู้นำโลกอาหรับเพราะว่ามีเหตุโจมตีที่โรงพยาบาลค่ะ